Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Sam, United People's TV. We're here. It's Wednesday. We're here talking about the takeover. It made me laugh. Comment there before we went live. Was it Lee? I'm growing so tired of all this takeover talk. Until the takeover is done, it will be the point of conversation. It is the single most important thing that's happened to this football club in our modern history. And unsurprisingly, because the Glazers are in charge, they are dragging their feet. Now, yesterday on the live show, we spoke about this idea of minority investment, right? This idea that the Glazers might stay on as owners. And none of it matched up. None of it made sense. And that's why I followed that up with the video I did yesterday that I will run through. I don't personally feel, I kind of never have, that it's something that United fans need to get worried about too much. I'm not saying it won't. I'm not saying it's impossible to happen, of course. But I just don't particularly think it will happen. And now we're here talking today after separate reports from Jamie Jackson yesterday that Sheikh Jassim is confident of his bid going through and being successful. Then Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail, who of course has been leading from the front with the Qatari side of the story. He was the first journalist to break Sheikh Jassim's interest, or the interest from a Qatari bid. We didn't know Sheikh Jassim at that point. But I'm going to speak through the updates for you here. We're going to speak about a new contract for David de Gea, with Rob Dawson from ESPN reporting that he is closing in on that new deal. Kind of has been closing in for a long time. We'll speak about that. We'll speak about the early team news for Sevilla, Alejandro Garnacho, who's now back in boots and playing. We'll speak about Eric Bailly returning to the club. Loads and loads and loads of stuff. As always, it's a busy show. I'm glad I do these every morning because we need them. And imagine how busy these are going to be in the summer transfer window. I remember last summer. That was madness. I had to cancel my holiday I had to delay my holiday to Marrakesh to last week because we ended up signing Casemiro Anthony in like the space of 7 days, right towards the end of the window. Absolutely wild. But good morning to everybody. Who's down here? Martin Baker, good morning to you. Kieran, we've got Robert Taylor. We've got Carl watching from New Zealand. As always, we've got Bully, good morning to you. Peter Griffith, that's a new name. Alex, how you doing, man? Benson, we've got Joe Eva watching. We've got Miss Teacup, how you doing? Got Yogi, Daryl, Shax. There's so many different names. It's wicked. Who's on Facebook? We've got Paul Sullivan. We've got Christopher Shaw. Good morning to both of you. We've got Blakey watching from USA on YouTube. And Ant and Josh and all the regulars. How you doing? T, I can see you there as well. Good morning to all of you. Let me quickly open this window so I don't miss anything. Look at that. Man, Gongshi, how you doing, my man? You are a hero. The Gongshi. There he is. Best, what's he saying down there? He's saying thank you very much to Gungshi. What a legend, man. On you go. Josh, I can see you there too if you're getting annoyed at the fact that I didn't mention your name. People always crack me up. They really, really do. An update on the sort of, what did I call it? The upgrades. Number one was the whole studio. Number two, the software. The software is much closer. That's the one I'm really, really excited about. Updating all of this that you see here. That's going to be a big one. Then number three is going to be updating that studio behind me. That's a little bit further down the line. But this is, I just wanted to tell you what's going on behind the scenes. Still working on the website. What have we got? Merchandise. Got a new design that I want to launch, but I'm not launching it just yet. I'm going to wait for the right time. Let's speak about the takeover, right? Because, yeah, as I said, I released this video yesterday. You know me that the thing I don't ever want to do with this show that we do every single day is feed hysteria. Get people angry or over angry for the sake of it. Get people too excited off the back of a story that's never going to happen. That will definitely happen during a transfer window. You have to be careful about what you read and where you read it and where you get excited and disappointed. Oh my God, we haven't signed this player. Oh, maybe we were never interested in signing that player. You know the drill. That happens all the time in the transfer window. And with this takeover story, as is the case of everything, right? When it's Manchester United, it's daily news. It's daily updates. Sometimes it's 3 times a day updates because it's Manchester United. And that feeds the hysteria. And you don't realize it, but because you're constantly waiting for an update, therefore you're more annoyed when that update doesn't come. Oh my God. But it's a takeover. It's a takeover of £1 billion business. It's never going to be quick. The Chelsea one was because it was forced upon Chelsea by the UK government. The United one It started in November. It's in April, and we're at the 3rd round stage. And this is something that I've spoken to with Ben Jacobs quite a few times. 7 times, 8 times. I don't know how many times we've spoken now. I think it's 7 times, 8 times. Sod knows. I think it's 8. And he's kind of maintained, it's in the timeline scale. In timeline scale, it's not actually that delayed, but it's just that the thing that's driving it with United fans is this idea, this fear that the Glazers might stay on. So that was the story that came out yesterday, which we discussed, right? And then in the afternoon, you've got Jamie Jackson saying this, that Sheikh Jassim is confident of his Manchester United deal going through. And that has been something, let's be honest, that has been the case pretty much the whole time. That is the similar story that's come out from the Qatari side pretty much the whole way through. They are confident that their bid is the best. They are confident their bid will be accepted, and they are confident of getting a deal done. That's been maintained the entire time. So it's no surprise to hear that they still have that confidence. Now, the important update here, I'll tell you one thing I want to say there quickly as well. I don't know if it's something you noticed as well, but it's certainly gone a little bit quiet from the Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe front. With the Qatari side of things, we know full well that anything Mike Keegan's reporting is coming mainly from the Qatari side. That's certainly where he's got his sources. Jamie Jackson, I mean, not really been much from the... I'm surprised there's been not too much from the Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos side. You can look into that how you want to. It might mean absolutely sweet FA. They're just staying quiet in the background. Well, it's just an interesting conversation. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Tyler, you're saying, Sam, if the Glazers don't sell, the value of United is going to plummet. Well, it already has. They did yesterday. 13%. Was it? Yes, 13%. I think it fell off the back of reports that they might stay on as owners, and it won't. That's not. I think it's the second time that that's happened. First time was after the League Cup final. That's when it dropped 10% as well. Manchester United's share price is extremely volatile because it's artificial at this moment in time, because we're in the middle of a takeover process. That share price was affected by nearly 15% off the back of one article from Mark Ogden in ESPN. Goes to show what you can... I'm not saying it's market manipulation in any way, shape, or form, but it just goes to show how volatile it is. It can jump up and down according to what's being said and what's being reported in the press. You know, the hysteria goes... It might be on a micro level, but on a macro level, it's affecting the markets as well. It's affecting what everybody's thinking about United around the world. Hydra, you're saying that SJR's gone quiet because Rain / Glazers got annoyed at them trying to garner support. Remember that? That was when the first statements came out from both of these guys, well, both of these businesses, and they said that well, it was more the Sheikh Jassim one, wanted to return United to the glory days, and then the Glazers got pissed off. The Glazers, man, yeah. Proper scummers. Tom, how you doing down there, man? What a hero. You gifted 5 memberships. What a dude. Corey, Bochi, Sandman, Ken, Mark Foley. And is that Mark Foley? Probably not that Mark Foley. No, don't think he is. Anyway. And Java, you have been... Thank you very much, Tom. You're an absolute hero. And Mr. Creed, who's been a member for 9 months. Good morning, Sam. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, dude. I'm looking forward to what this summer holds. But let's focus on the takeover here and the conversation that's coming from the Daily Mail and Mike Keegan. I think I figured out how to use the Daily Mail website. Fun fact: just block all the cookies, and then the website doesn't actually cause too much chaos on your computer. I think that's the solution. Saying that, famous last words, is probably going to break. But let's read through this article, because as you can see, it says this: that the full sale of Manchester United is still the most probable outcome, despite multiple offers for a partial stake, with the Glazers aware of the potential outrage if they decide not to sell. Let's read through this. A full sale, let me just zoom out a little bit. There you go. That's better. A full sale remains the likeliest outcome from the Manchester United search for investment. He's launched his full bid. Blah, 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 blah. No update there. Got to scroll through 9 pictures first. This is where I think we need to have no, it's not a conversation. I think this is interesting. Sources close to the process, which is being overseen by by the Rain Group, believe a full sale is the most probable conclusion. Still, that hasn't changed. Right? That hasn't changed. I can see some people down here getting offended. I started an absolute weird. There you go, Tom. There's your gong. All right. There is a gong for Tom. No need to get offended in the comments, people. All right. But look, all right, there we go. The gong's back. I think you all just enjoy making me look stupid. I think that's the main thing. The prospect of United becoming a toxic brand, should the owners choose not to sell, is likely to be one factor under consideration. And this is something that Man United is not a toxic brand now. The Glazers have never invested any of their own money, and the value, the increased value. There's this dude on Twitter that keeps always tagging me, where anytime I talk about the takeover and sort of trying to correct me on things I've said or I should be saying. And I was pointing out the fact that Manchester United hasn't increased in value over the last 10 years. Since Man United launched on the New York Stock Exchange, we've not gone up in value. We're the exact same 10 years later. And he points out, he goes, well, actually, the Glazers bought Man United for 750 million and it's now worth 5 billion, which is like a 650% increase. It's got absolutely sweet FA to do with the Glazers. And I mean sweet FA. That is such a weird thing to try and link. It is nothing to do with them. It's to do with the growth of the Premier League that's happened during that time. It's to do with the growth of football and the natural growth. Manchester United, tell you what, it was to do with Ed Woodward. You can say that that's got something to do with them, to do with the sponsorship and the regional deals that we did. But to try and give them credit for that, it's mad. And Man United, the hypothetical situation, right? Let's pull this up. The hypothetical situation of the Glazers staying, and that conversation there about Man United becoming a toxic brand. The protest that's planned for Aston Villa on the 30th, right? 1958 are trying to get that started, and I'm sure they will, right? The protest against Liverpool was the biggest one that I've been to. It was fantastic. And I'm not talking about the Liverpool one that got the game cancelled. That was the year before. I'm talking about the one that was organised after the takeover talks. Or was it after the takeover talks? When did we play Liverpool at Old Trafford? I think it was actually before it. Man United 2-0 Liverpool. Oh, no, it wasn't. No, it was. When is it? Stupid Google. Don't show me that result. Show me that result. That's why it was 2-1. Was it 2-1? It was 2-1. Yeah, it was August. It was way before. But that was when we were still having Jim Ratcliffe's name had come into the conversation. I think I've lost my chain of thought here. I going back to what I think it was a lad called Lee earlier in the conversation saying, "Oh, I'm bored of talking about the takeover." I'm not saying I'm bored of talking about the takeover, but I cannot wait until they are gone, so that I don't have to waste any more energy on them. The dirty, thieving bastards. I think that's what it is. So I'm not bored about talking about the takeover because it's so exciting. This concept that Manchester United are going to have new owners who are going to share the same sorts of ambition that Erik ten Hag is an incredible conversation. It's a conversation that I've wanted to have for nearly 20 years. However, I'm pig sick of talking about the Glazers. I'm pig sick of talking about how much they've ruined our club because, I mean, it's the truth, and it has been the truth for a long old time. So just piss off. That's why people are getting I think ultimately that's why people are getting annoyed. We just want this circus to end. That's what we want. And we want it to end sooner rather than later. As I said, you've got The Guardian reporting that Sheikh Jassim is absolutely confident that he's going to get the deal done. You've got the Daily Mail and you've got Mike Keegan saying, look, the full sale is still the absolutely most likely outcome. And I covered it yesterday with that video, and I will cover it in the future as to why it seems so much more likely, and all the dots connect when it comes to a full sale. There's so many disconnects when you talk about a minority takeover. That's what I think. Anyway, I'm going to go down and read a few of your comments. I feel like I've just been ranting there for a few minutes. I want to say, oh man, Garlic Bread Man, with one of the best names on YouTube, because everyone likes garlic bread. Is there somebody that doesn't like garlic bread? Honestly, question mark. Do you know anyone who doesn't like garlic bread? If so, probably disown that person as a friend. Just gifted 10 memberships. What an absolute don. Yes, Garlic Bread Man. Hero. Who are the lucky 10? We've got Partib. We've got Dandan. We've got Cormac Jones. Ramen. I love ramen noodles as well. Stew. Heroes. Hero, man. Garlic Bread Man is saying, I wonder how many gongs there's going to be when the Glazers are gone. I should have taken a picture of where I was at the weekend. Went around a friend's house, and he's got like he does gong. Was it gong baths? Don't know. He's a yoga teacher. And he's got some serious gongs. We're talking like, I reckon about, what size is that? I reckon about 50 times bigger than that. Serious gong. Serious gong. Right, let me see what you're saying down here. Yeah, Charlie, you're not wrong there. That protest, I'm going to go to the game against Aston Villa. That's next weekend, I think. Yeah, it is. 11 days' time at Old Trafford. Absolutely want to be there for that one, so I'm going. And I just can't wait until they're gone. I'm in the same boat as all of you. I really am. I'm in the same boat as all of you. I would rather be focusing on the football, focusing on the transfer. Look, the transfer window's coming up, man. End of the season, we've got such a big window, but we can't even really genuinely talk about it with any massive degree of confidence because we don't know who our owner's going to be. I don't particularly think that will change the scope of the budget for this summer. And maybe that's why we need to start diving into the FFP stuff. But I don't have time to start diving into the FFP stuff until we've got the new owners in. Everything is dominated by the takeover talk, as it rightly should be, because it is, this, as I said, the single most important thing that's happened to our club in modern history. It's just that people are bored. People are bored of talking about it. I know. But you won't be bored as soon as we actually, and hopefully this, geez, famous last words here. But the 28th of April, 9 days' time, that's where the third and final bids are going in, right? Will it be Sheikh Jassim? Will it be Jim Ratcliffe? We should know. Genuinely, we should know. This won't be a case of it going to third round and then the Glazers go, oh, actually, lads, let's go to a fourth round. But I don't think that's possible. This has been labelled as the final round of bids. So while it might be a little bit frustrating, I think we should be getting movement. We really should be getting movement. Again, famous last words. The Glazers really will just be probably digging their heels in and trying to find another way to delay it by X amount of weeks. Probably. That's what they do the whole time. I can't wait for this to be done. I can't wait for this to be over. In a good way, right? In a good way. What else are you saying down here in the comments? The Glazers want fans to get bored of it, says Alex. We definitely need to keep talking about it until it's done. And man, that's exactly why this protest is going ahead. That's why this protest, not in particular, but just different levels of different times. The protest against Liverpool when it happened was the biggest and most important one to date. This protest, in my opinion, now against Aston Villa is the biggest and most important one to date because of everything that's going on with this conversation of potential minority sale, right? And of course, that's 2 days. The protest on the 30th is 2 days after the close of that third deadline. It's going to be important for United fans to make that clear, have our voices genuinely heard. And there's something that I've spoken to you, right? about this quite a few times. So many people are quick to point their fingers at other United fans and saying, "Oh, you should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this?" You know, when it comes to not buying merchandise, which I agree with. That's why I've never bought anything from the club directly for a lot. I can't even tell you the last time I bought anything from the club directly. I've obviously got my season ticket. I gave my season ticket up last year, and people that's one thing that people shout. Oh, give up your season ticket. Do you have any idea how long it takes to get a season ticket at United? Do you have any idea how many people are on the waiting list to get a season ticket at United? If every single season ticket holder at United, in solidarity, gave up their season tickets, within 72 hours, probably, they'd have them all sold to another 40,000 people who would just take them on. And it would make absolutely sweet FA difference. Protests are where voices can be heard. And people are like, boycott the stadium, empty the stadium. Again, do you have any idea how difficult it would be to empty Old Trafford? And people will point towards AC Milan and go, AC Milan did it. Why can't United do it? AC Milan is more of a regional, localized club. The majority of the fans there are from Milan, are AC Milan local fans. At United, Old Trafford is part of our success, but there's thousands of day trippers there, thousands of tourists there. Every single game, it's like nigh on impossible to empty Old Trafford for a single game, right? That's what I think. So I don't think that. I don't think that the possibility of boycotting a game is impossible. However, it would take serious planning. And I'm not just talking about deciding on a Wednesday, let's boycott the game of the weekend. It has to take weeks, probably months. And to unite so many different fan groups, it will be such a hard thing to organize. That always annoys me. People who just point a finger and say, give up your season ticket and boycott the stadium. If you're not doing that, you're not. It's just, come on, man. It's weird. It's really, really weird. Let me go over here and see what we're saying. Jay, how you doing, dude? Man, Jay's joining in. Hey, I love this community. I love this community. I really, really do. And one thing that's annoyed me about myself is I still haven't started the bloody members-only content. I promise you I'm not ignoring it. It's just that I keep getting distracted by doing other things. I'm working on the emojis. Going to get like more than 30 custom emojis designed for you guys to use in the live chat as members. Working on the website. That's getting done. But yeah, members only. I still need to do that. JJ, speaking about the Jimmy Murphy statue. Yeah, man. Can't wait for that. I don't know why it's taken so long for Jimmy Murphy to get a statue. An absolute hero, man. He was so integral to United post the Munich air disaster. I have no idea why we've had to wait until 2023 for him to get a statue. It really is. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Jonathan, can your merchandise contact get a Ji-Sung Park t-shirt? A t-shirt just for Ji-Sung Park or the actual, I don't know, an actual shirt. But you can slide into my DMs, John. I can give you the email. John, you're saying get the arms open again. That's what I want to do. I want to probably start doing one video a week, I think, for members only, and maybe one Q&A a week. Something along those lines. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. That's all. That's the only reason it's being delayed. Robert, you're saying, Sam, what would you need is the stadium packed? Then as the teams walk out for the handshakes, all the home supporters walk out of their seats onto the concourse. Robert, I mean, and you just mentioned it there, like you're talking about like military level of organization and precision. It's just like, what was it last year? I think it might be. Was it the Norwich game? There was a game where a walkout was planned, and it didn't go down very well because it's even if you get 5,000 United fans in unison to walk out of Old Trafford, it's still less than 10%. Do you know how many people 5,000 is? That's a big old crowd. It's very, very, very hard for that to get organized. So yeah, it's just my point is, let's not complain about what we're not doing. Let's focus on what we are doing, and let's focus on what we are doing and make it better, make it bigger, And that's where that protest comes in on the 30th of April. Don't just be sitting there pointing the finger saying, oh, why are you not boycotting? Why are you not sending your season tickets? X, Y, Z. Just get your ass to the protest and get involved in that. All right? Let's make that as big as possible rather than complaining about what we're not doing. That's why that's kind of my take on that. Kind of my take. It's a bit weird. Anyway, I feel like I'm moaning this morning. Maybe I need some water. That'll cheer me up. That didn't cheer me up. Right. Let's speak about the next story because this is an important one. David de Gea, right? I've spoken about David de Gea. And you know my opinion on him. You know my opinion on how I see the future of Manchester United's goalkeeping department. And I don't particularly think that David de Gea is that guy. Latest from Rob Dawson is that Manchester United are closing in on that agreement. Let's read through this article together. Manchester United are closing in on an agreement with David de Gea over a new contract. Sources have told ESPN. Goalkeeper is approaching the end of his current deal and could leave Old Trafford for free at the end of the season. United, however, believe they are close to an agreement which would see De Gea extend his stay while taking a cut in his basic wage, but with larger performance-related incentives. I want to know where you all I don't want to know. I already know where you all stand on this, right? United may also have the option of triggering a one-year extension. I don't think that United will be doing that, right? United won't be extending that contract because if we extend that contract, then De Gea stays on, I believe it's 375 grand a week, right? I don't think he's going to be getting those terms. He's definitely not getting those terms. Where do you stand? What do you think? That's the question I want to ask you, right? What do you think is going to happen with Manchester United's goalkeepers in general, overall, over the next, let's call it 24 months, right? Because it looks like Manchester United, Ten Hag has said that he wants to keep him as well. It looks like Manchester United are going to be keeping David de Gea on reduced terms. Now, that does not necessarily mean that Man United will not be looking for a new goalkeeper. I think it reduces the likeliness of us spending big on one. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to look for a goalkeeper in the summer. And I'm still pretty convinced that we need to. Just a personal opinion. I don't think David de Gea is a terrible goalkeeper. No one's ever going to argue that. But do I think he is the right goalkeeper for us? I very much question that. I do. I'm going to go down here and read a few of your comments. Madhouse, you're saying De Gea should be phased out, not thrown out. I think that's a fair comment. And I'm not saying throw De Gea out. Like, I always remember how Rio Ferdinand. Remember how he was like Woodward walked into the dressing room and just told him, "No, you're not getting your deal renewed. See you later, mate." And I think he walked out the back door. Vidic. I remember the Vidic one. Didn't Vidic announce halfway through was it the Moyes season? Halfway through the season that he was leaving in the summer, I think, if I remember. And you're saying De Gea isn't the future for us, but if he's willing to take a pay cut, that shows loyalty to the club, and that's no bad thing. Hey, I don't think anybody can question David De Gea's loyalty. He's been here through Fergie, Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Rangnick. 7 managers he's been here. And if he wasn't here, my word, how far would we have fallen? Box, you're saying I've moved De Gea on like we've done in the past with Ince, Hughes, Kanchelskis, Stam, Beckham, Van Nistelrooy. Well, some of those, like Ince, he went. That was with the Class 92 one coming through, wasn't it? Was that Kanchelskis too as well, I think? Stam and Beckham, obviously, they fell out with Fergie, so did Van Nistelrooy. So there's kind of certain different players there with different sort of reasons as to why they left the club. It's such a tricky one. The De Gea situation is absolutely saturated with emotion. Probably could use a better word than saturated, but it is. It's very hard to make an objective call on David De Gea because of what he's done for the club. Dean, what you're saying down here, you're saying people need to realise that Erik ten Hag is having to plan next season with the budget set by the Glazers, so a few players we want gone will resign because of this. What do you mean? A few players we want gone will resign. You mean our players will be leaving? We'll speak about Eric Bailly in a little bit. I've already done a keep sell. I'm definitely going to do an updated list on that keep sell. I'm interested. I'm going to keep going down here because I think this is a really important conversation. It's not a wrap. You can have the conversation around whether De Gea should stay or not, but I think De Gea is staying. But it's about what's that timeline, because we will get a new goalkeeper. All right, I'm certain of it. When as Ten Hag is our manager, we will sign a new goalkeeper. It's just a case of when. Now, I personally think it should be this summer, but Edge really saying, isn't the Brentford keeper available on a free? Absolutely not. David de Gea is going to be in the region of 40 to 50 million. He's just not signing a new deal. He's made it clear that he wants to be leaving that club. And if we're looking at short list of goalkeepers, he's on it. Diogo Costa will be on it. Don't really know any other keepers. Manion. Was it Mike Manion? Mike? I don't know how to say it. I'm calling him Mike. AC Milan's goalkeeper. He is an absolute monster. Really, really is. He's kind of got everything. Matt Ritchie just saying, keep him until we can find the right keeper that plays Ten Hag's system. Charlie, you're saying we still need another keeper for the future. Hydra, you're saying De Gea will sign a deal with a wage cut. Don't think we'll have the budget for a goalkeeper this summer. And JJ, you're saying get used to it. He's staying for many more years. Do you not think it's kind of disrespectful, the idea of De Gea being our number 2? What do you think? Because he's been our number 1 for so long. Like the idea that we would, I don't know, sign somebody who's a bit younger than him, who maybe is a modern version of what David de Gea was when he came in. Remember when we signed him from Atletico Madrid, he was scrawny. He had shot stopping. He couldn't command his area. He still doesn't really command his area. But kind of like the notion that David de Gea would all of a sudden be our number 2. Jonathan, you're saying no, keepers need to compete for a place like everyone else. Do they really? I mean, if you're looking at top teams, Edison, does he compete with anyone? No, he doesn't compete with anyone at City. He's just their number 1. Alisson, absolute outright number 1. Ramsdale, nope, he's number 1. Most football teams have an outright number 1 goalkeeper, and they have a second goal. Like we know full well. What's his name? Why can't I remember his name? What's the name of that goal? Sergio. Goalkeeper. Why can't I remember his name? Romero. I've completely forgotten Romero's second name. Anyway, Sergio Romero, the absolute pinnacle of top quality second goalkeeper. But I don't think De Gea would ever be as happy in that sense. And you're saying that I feel it's disrespectful to not give him the option. And I think that's a fair point. I'm saying it could be disrespectful because I'm just on the outside looking in. If you say to De Gea, you can stay, giving you reduced terms, say hypothetically he goes down to 200 grand a week, that's fine. Performance-related bonuses will be related to his performances whenever he plays. If he wants to stay at the club, and I think he does. You remember, like once upon a time, before Real Madrid's fax machine was broken, we were all convinced that De Gea going back to Madrid was an absolute guarantee. All of us, because it was, until their fax machine broke. But he stayed now. Him and Eden, I think they've got a child now, don't they? I think they had a child a few years ago, if I remember correctly. He seems to genuinely love Manchester. He seems to have an affinity with the club, and Ant said it there earlier. And loyalty does go a long way, and it does. I'm not asking and calling for David de Gea to be booted out of the club. It's just that my vision of how this Ten Hag team is built, it's not built with David de Gea at the base of it, and that will never change. That's an opinion which is pretty fixed now because I've had this whole season to see it. And I'm saying that, like, if you look at De Gea's distribution away at Forest, hello, yes, please, that was better. There was one pass in particular that I remember when it was, I think I mentioned it before, it was on the pod early this week, when it was a first-time ball from him with his left foot through 2 Forest players to Christian Eriksen in the middle. He passed it round the corner, and Bruno was then in acres of space. It was a risky pass to take on, but a keeper who has that confidence on both feet is able to do that on a regular basis. Now, you haven't seen that enough from De Gea. And I don't, yeah, my opinion's pretty set on that, but I still take into account your opinions. Chris, you're saying it's never about his ability or capabilities as a goalkeeper. It's his wages that's destroying our structure. Pogba and Ronaldo both gone. De Gea is next. Man, Chris, if you think about all the abysmal contracts that we have given, the one that will always stand out to me as the most damaging is Alexis Sanchez. I genuinely think that's probably the worst transfer we've ever made as a football club. Man, maybe not we've ever made. I can't make it as grand a statement as that. Certainly one that I remember in the post-Fergie era. You can type it in the comments. Do you think there are any transfers that were worse than Alexis Sanchez? Because I think the damage that caused to our club, the damage that caused to our wage structure, the mentality of signings, we turn into proper mercenaries whenever we signed Alexis Sanchez. I know we were kind of mercenaries before. You're forgetting Di Maria down there, says Matt. I know Di Maria was bad, but I think the damage that Sanchez caused to our wage structure, to how players perceived and looked at our club, I don't personally think you can look past Alexis Sanchez. I'll be interested to know what you say in the comments down there. I'm going to read a couple more comments down here about David de Gea. So look, what are you saying? People talk about De Gea like he's Taibbi. He's leading our Golden Glove race. He's not a long-term option, but I think Ten Hag trusts him. I do think Ten Hag trusts him. And it's a shame. Part of me really expected and hopes, I still do hope, that David De Gea's distribution got better and better. I think something that's helped United in these last few games. And I'll be honest, I'm still confused about it. Newcastle showed how to play against us, right? Press us, front three, give us no time on the ball. We'll dink it into midfield, win it hard the pitch, go, score. Brentford didn't do it, Everton didn't do it, and Sevilla didn't do it. We capitulated against Sevilla. That was self-inflicted. And then obviously we got the injuries too. I can't believe they didn't. And Forest didn't either. Just these last four games, they haven't pressed us at all. And it's really helped us. It's really suited us and helped us settle down. When teams press us, man, it's very, very different. I'm going to see down here what you think about the worst signing that we've made post. Let me pull David De Gea off the screen because it's not David De Gea. Lukaku. Ooh, that's a good shout. Actually, no, it's not a good shout. He was a bad signing, though. Di Maria, quite a few of you saying that down there. Bebe. Memphis Depay, that's harsh. Memphis Depay is harsh. Maguire. Oh, come on, people. Maguire, look. I think the only reason that people would say that is because he cost 80 million. Maguire's not the worst signing we've made. Jeez. And I don't like Maguire. I think Maguire should be leaving. Yatesy, what are you doing down here, man? Yatesy, good boys. You're saying Pogba? Yeah. Quite actually know a few of you saying Pogba down there. Schneidlin. I'm sticking Fellaini. Nah, Fellaini was... Everyone had a little tiny soft spot for Fellaini, right? Bow from the podcast. If you try and say Fellaini was the worst signing that we've made post-Fergie to Bow, he wouldn't do much. But he threatened. He's got a soft spot for him. Dean Henderson. Ronaldo, the return of Ronaldo. The return of Ronaldo. We move on. We move on from that. We definitely move on from that. Oh, man, Nathan. Dude. Man, everyone's being so generous this morning. All of you. Legends. Boy. Yes, the gong's getting a spank. There we go. Oh, that was an interesting and sad conversation there, really. Who is the worst signing that we've made post-Fergie? Yeah, I personally will stand by the fact that it's Alexis Sanchez. But I probably would put a close second as Di Maria, I think. I think I would put a close second for Di Maria. I don't think... I'm not just... when I do that, I don't just look at how poor that player was. I'm talking about the overall impact, the ripple effect, to use James Alcott's phrase. Big up, James. The ripple effect of that player throughout the club. And that's why I think the damage of Alexis Sanchez is incomparable to other signings. Personally. Anyway. Right. Someone's telling me to check out the tweets. Pardon me. Kieran Maguire. What's old Kieran been saying? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, nice cheery tweet about the Glazers. This will make everyone feel better, right? What's he saying? If Kevin, Darcy, Brian, and Eddie Glazer sell their shares to Carlisle or another investment house, they will convert from B shares to A shares, which I've already discussed. That will leave Joel and Avram with 25% of the shares, but 75% of the votes. There's no chance. There is no chance. I don't think so anyway. I've spoken about that so many times now. I don't need to go back and talk about the Glazers. They're taking up way too much of my time. I'm seeing some other good news here. Well, let me just check this. Oh, yeah, we like that. We like that. That's some good news. Let's bring this bad boy up. You want some team news ahead of tomorrow? How about this, baby? Jeez. That's what we want. That's what we want. Rashford back in training. We need a bit of Rashford tomorrow. What do you expect for tomorrow, eh? Give me your thoughts in the comments. We can have a little 5-minute chat about the football because we can actually, we're a football team. Start talking about the football. Bruno Fernandes is obviously suspended, which is ridiculous. Really is ridiculous that he's suspended, but he's suspended, so we're gonna have to cope without him. But I feel confident in that. There will be a drop-off. There is something about Bruno Fernandes that is irreplaceable. There really is. Whether you can be frustrated at his the way he plays, XYZ, there is part of his game and the way he plays that is just irreplaceable in this squad. But I think we can cope well. Depends whether Sabitza's back and fit. But you've got Casemiro there and you've got Eriksen, right? Chetan down there with a really good comment saying, look, we beat Barcelona, man. We can beat Sevilla, who did win 2-0 at the weekend, a big win against Valencia. Had they lost to Valencia, they would have really dragged themselves into a bit of a relegation scrap. I think they've just about managing to avoid it at this time, but it's a shame because hopefully they would have lost. Anyway, Marcus Rashford back in training. Yes, please, we need that. We need a front three. Probably in an ideal world, we'd have Rashford on the left. You have Martial through the middle. You have Anthony on the right. Then you're looking at form players. Jadon Sancho at this moment in time, it's not as if he's negatively affecting games. I don't think he is. But he's just not impacting games in the same fashion that Martial is, or in the same fashion that Anthony is. DK there is a good point there. Maybe we could see Jadon Sancho in that Bruno role. So maybe you'd see a front four of Jadon Sancho in the number 10, with Rashford on the left, with Martial up front, and Anthony on the right-hand side. Now, that would be a front four to get your hands rubbed together, wouldn't it? Man, imagine that. That could be sexy AF. Let me see what you think about the 3-0, says Dan. Get your predictions in the comments. I'll read a few of your predictions out. I don't know what my prediction would be. Lou, how you doing, man? This community. Honestly, it's still unrivaled, and I think it always will be unrivaled, this community. Lou, boy. The gong's getting a spank. Spanked indeed. Hero. But yeah, Marcus Rashford being back in training. I mean, you're bringing him straight back in, aren't you? Because we gave that away, the 2-0 lead at home, we have to bring Marcus Rashford in. Even though we've got Brighton on Sunday in the FA Cup, it's the least important thing out of the rest of this season. And I think we're going to struggle against Brighton on Sunday. I absolutely think we'll struggle. But we'll speak about that game a little bit later in the week. But it is the least important of the three competitions that we are left in: the Premier League, the Europa League, and the league and the FA Cup. It's definitely 2-1, says Brian. 9-0 to United. Stop drinking this early in the morning, Jai. I tell you all the time. 2-1 win, says Wendy. 3-1 win, says Jacob. 2-1 to United. 2-0. No own goals, please. I'll give you my prediction in my starting 11 video. It's going to go out at lunchtime today. As soon as I finish this live, I'll get straight on recording that video. There'll definitely be some changes. Well, there's going to be some forced changes. Martinez is going to be missing. Varane's going to be missing. And Bruno's going to be missing. So that's 3 changes at the very least from the team that drew 2-2 against Sevilla last week. And there might be more changes too. Matt Richard with a super chat there. That was going to be my next talking point. Let's talk about it now. Garnacho being back in training is pretty exciting too. Garnacho, man, what an exciting player he is. Congratulations to him. This is the preliminary list for the Argentina Under-20 World Cup. As you can see down there, a certain Alejandro Garnacho is chosen. Congratulations to him. He'll be excited about that, and he will want to play in that. He wanted to go to the World Cup. Who was it that pulled out with an injury. There was an Argentinian player who pulled out with an injury before the World Cup. And there were questions as to whether or not Garnacho might actually go to the World Cup. Obviously, he didn't. Carl, you're asking for any news on Luke Shaw. No word, but let's be totally honest. I do think that Shaw will be fit to start this game, right? I think he'll be fit to start this game. That's my personal take. I don't. He's been missing for. What's he been missing for now? 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, I think it was. We need him back. Luke Shaw has played. That's got to be one of the. I know there's been plenty of surprises this season, and you can let me know what you think is the biggest surprise. Probably Wan-Bissaka's resurgence, I think, is the biggest one, right? But Luke Shaw playing at centre back against Man City at home and Barcelona away, and being amazing. Definitely one of the biggest surprises. I never saw that coming in a million years. And we know full well that Ten Hag, he praised Victor Lindelof for how he played against Forest. And I think he did play quite well. He's far more two-footed than Maguire is because Ten Hag loves passing angles. He loves the natural-sided player to be on that on the correct side, which again makes it even more impressive how good Delot was in that game against Forest. But he'll want Luke Shaw to be playing there, left-footed, left centre-back in an ideal situation. And if he's not fit to play there, he'll definitely be fit to play against Brighton. That's what I think so. Fred, you're saying, remember Sevilla haven't scored against us yet? Yeah, we're too busy scoring own goals. But look, looking at Garnacho there, I found this on Reddit this morning. I thought it was quite interesting. See Garnacho, and let's take a look at this, because this is a comparison of progressive passes up this axis and progressive carries down here. So the further along to the right a player is, the more progressive carries they make per 90. And the further up this axis they are, the more progressive passes they make per 90. Look at Garnacho. Out here on his own, nobody dribbles the ball. Now, this is all in the opposition's half, by the way. It's not to do with progressive passes out from the back. Passes in your own half don't count for these stats. It kind of makes it a little bit skewed. But look at Garnacho. By far and away, no one's near him. And that's the sort of player he is. And that's what makes him such an exciting player. Anthony there, he's definitely improved. I'll tell you what, look, Sancho's not too far off Anthony. That's impressive. I wouldn't have expected that. And look at Wan-Bissaka. Look at Wan-Bissaka. Cheeky. And then on the opposite there, I can see a couple of you mentioning him. Poor old Wout Weghorst. Look, Weghorst up until I don't know when it was. I won't say that Weghorst was a bad signing because he was not a bad signing. Weghorst did a job for us. It was a workhorse at a time when we didn't have anybody else to rely on. He kept nobody out of the team because there was nobody to keep out of the team. Ronaldo had just been sacked. Martial was injured. Weghorst did a real job for us. However, yeah, he's not the most creative type. He was always a link-up player, wasn't he? That's the thing I enjoyed about Weghorst. He seems to be good at receiving the ball and just passing it off to someone else. But yeah, would we have won the League Cup without him? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think we would be in this position this season if it wasn't for Weghorst being signed in January. I think he's been part of the puzzle. But yeah, most surprising thing on this. Don't know about surprising, but Garnacho. He is that guy and he's back in boots. So let's fingers crossed see Garnacho back in training sooner rather than later. Last couple of minutes of the show. You can fire in your questions as you always do. Make sure you enter the draw for the giveaway. I haven't mentioned it there yet, the entire stream. I'm terrible at this. I always forget. There's the link. So this is the giveaway, giving 2 tickets away, Club Wembley level tickets, to go and see the game on Sunday. All you got to do is fill a form out. It's free. It will take you 2 seconds to do it. And someone's going to win the draw. And it's going to be drawn live on the show on Friday. That's what I'm trying to aim towards anyway. So I've left the link in the description there. And Nathan saying, did you give away the Series X already? No, that's running until the end of April. It's just that, this giveaway is taken over for a couple of days. And then we'll bring the Xbox Series X back. But you can still enter that on the same link. Best, you're saying that we should keep Wan-Bissaka. My personal take on that is probably not. My personal take is that Manchester United at this point, this is where we get attached to players who I think we could sell Wan-Bissaka, get good money for him, and invest him in a real exact profile player. Wan-Bissaka is really doing a job that nobody expected him to do, but he's really like, maybe he can keep growing and get better and better and better in that role. And I'm unfair on him. But my natural instinct would be to sell Wan-Bissaka, get good money for him because he's a good footballer. And don't just hold on to these players because it might work. Increase your odds and get someone that will work. Scout better. That's my take on it anyway. Dan, you're saying you think Harry Kane in the summer. I don't know, man. Harry Kane would be an incredible signing, right? But I've seen reports today that PSG are interested in him. We know full well the red flags with Kane are Spurs. It's Spurs related, that they don't want to sell to a Premier League rival, and they don't really want to sell Kane. If Poch comes in, he 100% signs a new contract. 100% signs a new contract. Mazid, you're saying, do you want Frimpong? Personally, I don't. Frimpong, Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen, an incredibly attacking right back. There's not many players in this season, I think, who have got more progressive dribbles than him. However, defensively, he's got weaknesses, for sure. There's questions. There are questions. Tommy said, I missed a super chat. Damn. Let's have a look up here. I did. Worried Rashford being rushed and going to get a new injury. I think Ten Hag strikes me as anyway. Ten Hag is somebody who learns from mistakes, isn't he? Right? And I think Ten Hag has certainly learned that mistake with Martial of bring a person back in too quickly that gets injured and then he's out for far too long. I don't think he's going to rush Rashford back. But remember that Rashford is, he played the whole, was it last season before? This dude has played with injuries so much at Manchester United. I just don't think he'll be particularly rushed by Ten Hag. Can't afford to rush him. He needs him back for this run-in. He really, really does. So I think he'll be eased back in. But yeah, I suppose you might say that he could be rushed back a little bit with what's coming up next week. Andy, how you doing, man? Oh, wow. Andy, you done. You just gifted 5 memberships, not once, but twice. Absolute hero. Who are the lucky 10? Jacob, Red G, you've got 1. Let me see down here. I don't know. It's not showing it. Daniel. Man, thank you so much, Andy. Thank you so much to the single best community in the world. Jacob, what are you saying there? You just sent a super chat. Let me read this out for you. Osman would be class. Him with Bruno and Anthony. Oh, imagine Bruno with a striker who is always in the right position at the right time. He's getting like 20 assists. 20 minimum. Maybe he can be the... Was Thierry Henry the last player in the Premier League? I don't know. I know he was a player. Curious one. Was he the last? Who was the last player in the Premier League to get 20 goals and 20 assists in the same season? I think it was Henry. I might be wrong there. But man, when we sign a striker in the summer, it's going to be a problem for everyone else. It really, really is. That's going to be the signing that takes this team forward. Plus, we need a midfielder. Plus, we need some other ones too. And of course, Napoli now out of the Champions League, lost. Can we just... How crap is Frank Lampard? On a 1 to 10 scale, I'll probably go 15. He's not even fit to wipe the crap off Solskjaer's shoes. I'm so happy that it's happening. So happy it's happening to Chelsea. An abysmal football club that has had an abysmal business model for so long, and it's finally blowing up in their rich faces. It's so satisfying to see. 4 games in as manager, 4 losses. What an appointment that is. Laughing at him. Absolutely abysmal manager. It really, really is. And you're saying Henry is the only player. Oh, look at that. I knew it was Henry, but he's the only player. That's incredible to get 20 goals and 20 assists in one season, man. Henry, man, back in those days, eh? That would always be the pinnacle of the Premier League, isn't it? that Arsenal United rivalry for like 4 or 5 years. Yatesy, you just got a free membership. That's dreamy for you. But look, I'll wrap this up for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you to the community, man. Love this community. Really, really do. Later on today, I'll have my Sevilla starting 11 video going out. Will Rashford be in it? Yeah, you can find out. I'll be back tomorrow morning with a live stream. We've got Sevilla tomorrow night. Plenty going on. Hopefully, some exciting stuff happening with the takeover. That's what we're waiting for. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you all for a fantastic live stream. I'll be here tomorrow morning. Much love.